Welcome to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima podcast, where we dive into real conversations that shape our professional and personal lives. I'm your host, Fatima Nash, and today we're exploring a topic that so many of us wrestle with, yet rarely discuss openly: imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough, like your success is a result of luck, or that you don't truly deserve your accomplishments? You're not alone. Imposter syndrome impacts high achievers, leaders, professionals at all levels, and even the ones who seem to have it all together. In this episode, we'll break down what imposter syndrome is, how it sneaks into our mindset, and most importantly, how you can push back against it. Together, we'll share insights, stories, and actionable strategies to help you embrace your worth and own your success. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima, Imposter in the house. I have my girl who I've been friends with since 2006. She has been my personal go-to for all things home, everything. Brooke Bernard. Brooke, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I am Brooke Barnard, and we've been friends forever. And we became friends because we had the same last name back
We
then.
did. We were sisters.
Yeah, and we were
Fords.
like, yeah, you're Ford, I'm Ford. We were
That's
so
right.
similar. Yeah, we were a crazy company. We had whole different lives back then.
We did. We did.
And now we're in completely different spaces and still love each other. But yeah, I
Yes, we
am
do.
an associate broker in a real estate company. I lead a team, and our job is to serve clients that are buying and selling residential real estate across the Richmond metro area. That's the short version of what we do.
Yeah, I love it. So I go to you for all the things. So if there's a question about the market, questions about how to leverage my equity, questions about who's best in town to even build decks and all that stuff. Like, you're my one-stop shop. I think it's a little bit of abuse because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to go to you for all those things, but you never tell me no. So I just keep coming back. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're supposed to go to me for all those things because those
Okay,
are
good.
people I work with all the time.
Good. So one of the things that I really lean into when I'm managing my imposter syndrome is my network and my tools. And so you have been a phenomenal tool for me. And so I thought it'd be great to share that impact with the audience and talk about imposter syndrome and how it plays, how it shows up everywhere. As a business coach, I coach my clients about their fraud feelings all the time, but we don't really get into the personal side of things from a home financial perspective. But the reality is that imposter syndrome and fraud feelings, they are everywhere in every aspect of our lives. And as a first generation everything, I didn't have any person in my family that owned their own home. And so when after starting a family and figuring out like, okay, how is this thing going to work? I was terrified in purchasing, my first home. I would love to hear from you about your definition of imposter syndrome and how you see it show up in the work that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I've had my own issues definitely with it. And I think even like every day, um, real estate changes every day, every year for sure, even the past couple of months. The National Association of Real Estate, Realtors rather, has changed how we function as realtors. And that puts into question, what does my future look like as a realtor? Am I going to be able to do it? Is my business going to succeed? Will my clients still call me? Am I still good at my job? So that is something I work with and struggle with every day. And as a team leader, you're a coach, I'm a coach in my own way. I can't show that I have any doubt or that I have any struggles. I have to put that face on it. Like, yeah, we got this. We're good. We're fine. And that can be hard some days when I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we will be without jobs.
Right.
But,
Right.
so that can be hard. And in the past, like you, I bought my house on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and it was back in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
They had these funny little things called interest only loans,
Right.
only on what you made. They didn't look at anything else. And I remember calling my mom and being like, "Hey, I can't pay my mortgage this month. Can you loan me some money?" That was back when, like, I was 27, so now people can figure out how old I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be able to go to happy hour. I would have to pick my happy hour or put gas in my car. Like, a bank shouldn't have given me money for a house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that was definitely like a weird place to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I think, those are just my personal examples of it, but I do see it with clients, being
Yeah.
in this business. People think I just help people buy a house or sell a house, but there's a lot of psychology involved. Um, and you do see a lot of doubt that people have, or
Mm-hmm.
leaning on people that you meaning me. I want to say you don't need to lean on that person. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
that person.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and depending on how well I know them,
Mm-hmm.
I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
like, I could say that to you after
That's
25.
right.
There's
That's right.
sometimes I can't say that. And I just hope that they figure that out and realize that they're strong enough where they didn't have to do that. But I do have some great success stories of, um, it just happens to be a couple of women, but where they figured it out at a different point in their lives. And, you know, some of them didn't even have jobs, but they left relationships. Um, and we were able to get them houses, and didn't have to rely on a spouse. They didn't have to do anything. Um, and we were able to get them, something that was going to be theirs for the first time in their life, where they had been a stay-at-home mom, or, whatever their situation had been. And they had always been in this place where they felt undeserving, reliant, and just a very negative place where they didn't think they could get out. And working with the right lender and the right, situation, right coaching, we were able to,
Mm-hmm.
do a lot for them. And I think those are some of my, like, happiest stories, or
Yeah.
that thought they were going to have to pay rent their whole lives, and then they buy a house and their mortgage is less than their rent.
Then the rent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the best deals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I mean, the struggle that women have in this society, and the empowerment the self-empowerment that comes when you can do something on your own. I think, and I'm not a history buff, but I do remember that in the 50s or 60s was when women could open up their own credit card.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Somebody referenced that to me recently, that I think it's like only been like 50 years that women
Yeah.
have.
So our lifetime, I mean, we're not 50, y'all. Trust, we're not 50. But
I'm holding on for the next few years.
right, we're holding on to our 40s. But basically our whole lifetime. It's been just our generational lifetime that we can even have credit on our own. And so when you think about imposter syndrome and how it plays a part in day-to-day womanhood, I can't even provide for myself, right? I can't even make the decisions that I need to make to be able to stand on my own because of the rules and the culture that was laid down before me. Now, obviously, things are very different than they were 40 years ago, but some of that same stigma still is around, and it follows us, right? Like, I never would have, I got married after I had a house. I had a house first, then we got married. I don't think that I ever would have felt confident at 27 to buy a house on my own. Like, I felt so, I was terrified. Like, if I just do it with my income, how's that gonna look? And what about my credit? And what about if I lose my job and I lose a house? And like, I lived in rental properties my whole life. So if you lose your job, you don't lose your house, you lose your apartment and you got to go figure out another apartment. But like it felt so much more daunting and stressful to lose a home, right? So I never thought that I was going to be able to purchase a house, let alone two houses. So yeah, it's the stigma is really is there. So when you think about Brooke, your clients who you helped, whether they were leaving a situation or they didn't have the experience, like what ways and what coaching were you able to give them to make them feel comfortable to follow you in the righteous way? Because that path is right to get your own and take care of yourself. That's the message here. So what did you pump into those women to get them to go along with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, looking back, and it's kind of goes in waves. I don't know um exactly like what to attribute it to, but I seem to have like the same kind of people and the same struggles come to me all at the same time. So right now I have a lot of people going through divorces that I'm working with at the same time. In the past, it's been a lot of deaths coming to me at the same time. So they're very similar struggles, similar situations that happen because they're all about grief. Um, and so when I'm talking to people through their grief, that's normally how the relationship starts. So it's me getting together with someone and talking about just over a cup of coffee, what's going on in your life, and we talk about the grief cycle. And I'm just talking to the person, getting to know them. It's not anything about real estate, really. And then somehow it comes up that this other thing is really hanging over their head. And it just happens to be that I can help with that. Like I know how to do the house part, and that's a burden I can take off of them while they are dealing with their grief. Or, I'm talking to a girlfriend of mine or a guy friend or whatever, and they know somebody going through this. And then that's the real estate part that I can help their friend with. So that's kind of how that conversation starts. Um, and then I get brought into the real estate side. And a lot of times they don't realize that they can do things with the real estate and either get out or get into it. And then so what I do is I just look at the numbers, and it's very, black and white for them because they are too into the grief to understand or to even like think about it. And as someone who has been in those grief cycles, I completely understand because you're paralyzed by whether it is a divorce or a separation or a death. You can't look at numbers. You don't care what your tax assessment is or what your equity is in your house. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm coming in and saying, hey, you're working on your separation agreement with your wife, your husband, your whatever, and you've already figured out this and this, and then you've got this equity, you have this property. We can make it look like this is another investment property while you're figuring things out for both of you on the house. And then when you get your final divorce papers, we'll settle it all up and do this. Do you both agree? You want each other in separate places. You cannot tolerate each other. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's go. This is the lender we can work with. Get it done. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Great. Where do we sign? So it's just, I guess the short answer, because that was a very long answer.
That was the perfect answer.
I can pull the like shade up essentially from the grief and just lay it all out there and make it easy. That's the kind of
Yeah. I love what you said about the grief cycles because woo-wee, like, yes, we all go through them. And women are very much more emotionally wound than men. And so I feel like we go through it a little bit more intensely. And you're right, when you're grieving through something, you can't think. And the most important decision to make is about your home because it's the biggest asset that you can use and leverage.
When you're
And
going through that grief, like you don't like so just like what you're saying, the female brain is wired to be very emotional, and the male brain is wired to just want to be done.
mhm.
But both sides want the most money and can get very angry or very so um that's where also I come in, because a lot of times if it's a separation or divorce, it can be we love each other, it's amazing, and then the next day it's I'm not speaking to him, I've blocked his phone number. And so it's a very for me, the most recent people I've dealt with are like, I'm friends with both sides. So it actually makes it easier for me because I can talk to both of them and they're not going to lash out at me.
Yeah,
They crap about each other to me, but like, I'm not going
yeah,
to take it out on either one of them. Um, and the same thing with like death, sometimes people just need to like, kind of word vomit everything that they're feeling and be like, I can't believe my mom left me. Like, why did she die? Like,
mhm,
it's like not fair.
mhm,
And I'm like, yeah, I know it's not fair, but like,
mhm,
she needs you to sell this because she doesn't want you carrying this weight anymore.
mhm.
She needs you back with your kids. Um, and so it's just like putting things in perspective for people. Um, and then also giving kind of like you said, like giving them the plumber, like helping
Mhm.
them sort through the stuff. Like,
Mhm.
you know, your mom has everything from your childhood, like back to like 1980. Do you really
Mhm.
want your baby booties? If,
Mhm.
you
No,
know, so helping them
right.
do all that stuff. And I don't even know how we got to the grief cycle conversation. People also have like celebrations. My job's not all depressing, but like I do have phases where, um, believe it or not, people will love to get engaged, get married, and have a baby all at the same time
Same
and all
time.
like all in
Mhm.
1 year.
Mhm.
And I'm always shocked when they do everything at the same time. I don't know why I'm still surprised, but they do every time. They come to me right when they get engaged and like, we're thinking about buying a house, but we're gonna get married in 6 months. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And they end up finding the house, closing on it like on their honeymoon. Then they come back, or no, going under contract on their honeymoon, come back, tell me they're pregnant, and then we're like closing during like, I don't even know, like while
Right.
giving birth or something.
Birth. Right. Yes.
Guys, this is insane. Why are we doing this? Yeah, it happens all the time. So
Yeah. I mean, that's how
it
women are
makes sense
wired.
to me.
We want to knock things out. The it's interesting that you say that about your job not being all depressing because I can imagine my poor therapist because I meet with her frequently and I give her all of my stuff. But she's always happy. So maybe she is built for this. And so I would think you're built for this, right? Like people come to you and your demeanor, no matter what is on fire, is the exact same demeanor. It's the exact same. Okay. So when would you like to have that done by? Did you want me to put you on the MLS? What is it, the MLS listing? When do you want to meet? Like I could be calling you screaming, and your response is the exact same way. And it's not because of our
I,
20-year relationship. It's because of who you are and what you do for a living.
right. Well, in our very first conversation, do you know what you said to me? I remember where I was sitting.
Oh God, I don't remember. Oh my God.
I knew exactly where I was sitting in my old house, like multiple houses ago. You said, you know what? I've decided that I'm going to hire you, bro. But when you are talking to me and when we are on the phone, you are my realtor. And then when I want you to be my friend, you can be my friend. But when you're working for me, you're working for me. And I was like, okay, I got you.
Oh shit, man. I must have said that over 15 years ago. Like I must have said that like, oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah.
I think
So yeah.
because it is true. Like when I am, because I do work mostly, I will only work by referral. I only
Right.
work with that I know because they know, like, and trust me. And that's like, that's what I teach my team. Like we work with people because they know, like, and trust us. We don't buy leads. We don't like
Mm-hmm.
buy people
Mm-hmm.
off of Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
which some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why we do that is because trust is a very important thing where you're dealing with like the biggest thing you are going to do in your life other than getting married and
Mm-hmm.
being with,
Mm-hmm.
need to be with someone for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a huge financial commitment. You need to trust the person that is walking you through it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the decisions you just have to trust your realtor because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
be like, we can't figure it out. I just got to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so sometimes they're referrals from friends, but a lot of times they're just friends. But I am putting on that realtor hat.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps if you know me in a
Mm-hmm.
different life or in another way so that you can be,
Mm-hmm.
I know Brooke knows her shit. Like she,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got me.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
that
mean,
conversation.
I I live in a bubble that people don't know about because I have extreme imposter syndrome. And so by me only working with people that I know, like, and trust, it's a part of my toolbox because
Yeah.
then I can be me, I can be nervous Nelly. I can call you 1,000 times and ask you the exact same question over and over because I've done that like a lot. I can be spastic, I can change my mind, I all those things. And so having imposter syndrome is a little bit annoying, but if you have the right circle and you have the right network in every aspect of your life, it doesn't have to be such a burden and a death sentence while you're alive, because that's how it feels to me. I feel like I'm confident and I know what I'm doing. I know that I can go buy this house. Everything on paper says that. My credit score is this. My income is this. My investments are that. Blah, blah, blah. But then you go down and you're like, I mean, I remember driving in this neighborhood before it was a neighborhood when it was gravel and it was just a school back here and like houses were popping up, but they were sporadic. And I
Last,
remember this last house, yeah. And I remember going through being like, I don't deserve to live here. There's no way. Look at these houses. They're huge. I'm never gonna be able to fill it up. You remember that? I was like, I'm never gonna be able to fill it up. As a matter of fact, oh no, if we're being really real, after, it was like 2 years after we closed on the house, you were like, Fatima, are you gonna come show me? And I was like, no. You were like, I want to see what you've done. And I was like, no, because I still was so embarrassed. Like I didn't fit in here. There was no way. I mean, Brooke, I got 5 bathrooms, 5 full bathrooms. Like, dude, I've never met anybody that had 5 bathrooms, let alone lived in a house with 5 bathrooms. And so, like, all of that was very, very new to me. The experience of it all, like all this land, all this space, I mean, everything. And I grew into it because, like, you can't walk anywhere in my house without touching something. There's stuff everywhere now. Um, yes, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. But that was all fraud feelings because I hadn't experienced it. I didn't have a lot of people that looked like me that were buying houses in this market at the time. And so I knew you and I trusted you. I mean, you remember when we hadn't even closed on the house yet, and I invited my family to come take a tour. Like I had you go get the keys so that my mom and people can come and see. Like they were walking in a museum. Like that was the experience for me. Like I'll never forget that I was able to do that for my family. That my husband and I were able to do that for our children. Um, you remember all that?
yeah.
Yeah, crazy, crazy. So combating imposter syndrome, you can experience it while a you built an empire since we worked together. Um, and so the way that you combat your imposter syndrome is sounds like just to get work done, just to
Yeah.
push through it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I disassociate,
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't really, people will say to me, like, how do you do it? Like, you have 3 kids, you sell all these houses, like, you know, and I'll look on, like, I'm doing my taxes right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
see the number and I'm like, I didn't do that. Like, that doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
sense. That's not
Mm-hmm.
me. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
made a mistake with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And that's never gone away from me. I mean, I've all the awards I've gotten, like,
Hmm.
I don't like I put something on Facebook the other day about, being in like a top agent or whatever. It
Hmm.
makes me throw up to even like say it. Like I hate putting stuff out there. And then my kids will be like, well, what percent were you? They ask, they want to know, like, what is mom? And like they go to school and they'll be like, would you know that my mom is like top 2% Asian in the whole city? And I'm like, don't say that to people. And they're like, but
What
why?
you?
I'm like, well, I just don't want to talk about people, you know? So they do a good job of keeping me in like a space that's nice. And but yeah, like kind of what you're saying. Like I don't know if it's how we were raised, if like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
all the personality tests I've taken, I'm like, yeah, that is me. Like
Hmm.
nothing's ever like good enough for me.
Nothing, never.
Sounds
Yes.
horrible to say, but like
Yes, I'm the same.
award or as soon as I hit a goal, I'm like, oh, okay, what's next? I don't
I don't
stop.
smell my roses. I don't think about the things I've done. But you do know that that directly contributes to having imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, but I just move on to the next thing. But
Yeah.
what I feel like I'm really good at is like I acknowledge everyone on my team when they
Oh
do their
yeah. You acknowledge everybody in the world, not just your team.
right.
Everybody. Yeah, you're a cheerleader for everybody.
But I can't do it for myself.
Yes, it's hard. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's really hard, but then I'll go back to the strongest tool in my toolbox, other than going back and looking at your data and smelling the roses, because that's really important. But it's harder to do. What's easier to do is circling yourself around good people that have the same values as you because they will show you, right? So we get together, I don't know, not as often as we should, but when we do get together, it is like a fire hydrant of Fords coming together. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. I don't think I can make this. You think I can do this? Well, and you're like, yes. And then you go and I'm saying the same things to you and then we're full again, right? Until the next time, right? Like it doesn't stay forever, but having those type of conversations with trusted people that you respect in their craft, it feels me. And so even though I do disassociate, like a lot of times I have my therapist having to remind me, do you know that you've done this, this, and this? And I'm like, where do you get that from? Like, well, you told me in our session like 6 months ago, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Like I don't record it and retain it. And we should because it's amazing the way that you work in this market and who knows you and how you grind and how you execute is none other. We have been friends for 20 years. Where is I'm not going to even go into this dungeon of crap behind me, but your magazine's back there. We've been friends for 20 years and you're still marketing to me like we never exchanged money together before. Like it's amazing. Yeah. I get the cards in the mail. My kids get the cards in the mail, like all that stuff. And I'm like, how is she still doing this? Um, and so that's your character. That's who you are. And it's amazing. So I could talk to you all day, and I know that you have a nice little close that you need to do today. Before we end this session on imposter in the house, because I'm an imposter in my beautiful queendom castle. I'm still an imposter. I have to deal with it every day. So it doesn't go away, guys. Fill up your house, buy the thing, manage your credit, build a network. Fuck those fraud feelings. They fake. That's what I'm leaving with today. What do you want them to know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like you said, surround yourself with amazing people that remind you every day how amazing you are. That's definitely something I have learned to do, get rid of all the negative people,
Hmm.
um, which you and I are also doing. Amazing
Yes,
job
we
at.
are. Yes, we are.
And then another thing I've started doing, which has been awesome for me, is I send a text to my team every morning, which is like a one line positive thing, note, whatever. But it's for myself too, just to start the
Oh
day.
yeah.
Okay. Um, just like a quote or an image or something. And it helps remind me to, we are good people, we're on a good path, and we're all here for each other.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's good to keep your mindset in this place.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's gonna get crazier, it seems. So when women or anyone, right? Because your target market isn't women, it's everyone that, can afford to buy a house or investment properties or whatever. Um, what how can they find you? If they're going through a grief cycle and they heard your message loud and clear on this pod today, and they need someone to hold their hand and support them while they grieve and manage their business, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at bbsellsrva or online at homesbybrooke.com. They can call me at 804-690-7913 or email me at brookbarnard@phrehomes.com. Um, you can call you. You can get them
Yes,
to call me. Yeah.
absolutely.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
they don't even have to be grieving. They can just want a house or want to know
Absolutely.
if they
Absolutely.
can afford it or want to
Doesn't
know.
have to be an event. Doesn't have to be an event.
And I help everybody. It
Right.
doesn't matter if you want to look at $100,000 piece of land or a 2 million, 4 million. We have a $9 million house in the Richmond area now, which I never thought that was going to be in Richmond. So,
That's
um,
beautiful. It's awesome.
Richmond is all over.
Yeah, I love it. Blake, it's a great place to be. Always has been. I love it here. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This is Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima, Imposter in the House, with my girl Brooke. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Bye.